Now, I want to talk about the Lizzo thing just briefly because people have asked me what I think about that. First of all, kudos to Grimes. Grimes is Elon Musk's baby mama, well, one of his many baby mamas, and also a pop star in her own right. I guess I've tried to listen to her music, and this is something like I guess I'm getting old because there's so many instances now when I will see a pop star or someone who's a famous musician in the media. Like I'll see on the Daily Mail a story about this person, like 070 Shake is dating Lily Rose Depp, Johnny Depp's daughter. I don't know who that is. So I was like, who is this 070, or is it 070 Shake, or is it 70 Shake? How do I say this? Anyway, so like she and Lily Rose Depp, there's always pictures of them, having a great time cavorting around LA, and supposedly Lily's never been happier or whatever, right? So I'm like, who is this person? So I look her up. She's a rapper. I never heard of her. Listen to her music. Same thing with Grimes. Several years ago when she was first dating Elon Musk, I looked her up. I mean, who is this Grimes? Well, anyway, the point is, often when I actually look up the music of these modern musicians, of these modern pop stars or whatever, I'm like, really? And I feel like an old person because I think, man, the music was better back in our day. And my day being the 90s and the early 2000s. I mean, I don't even know if some of what Grimes does, you could even qualify that, even that qualifies as music. It sounds. It's very odd. It's got this, and so many artists have this today now, particularly female artists, but it's like this really sort of highly, is the word auto-tuned? It's tinny. It sounds like a chipmunk is singing it. What is up with that? Anyway. So same thing with the 70 Shake girl. I mean, her music was there was discernible music there and like a beat, and it was okay. But I was going, whatever. But it was better. It was better than Grimes. Okay, better than Machine Gun Kelly. Someone else that I just find his popularity inexplicable, even though he is married to a Kardashian or whatever. So Grimes, though, even though I don't really understand her music. I can't even fully discern that it is music. I do respect people who have balls, who have courage, and she is standing up for Lizzo. And you can look it up yourself, what she says, but basically something to the effect of, I'm very loyal, and et cetera, et cetera. And here's the thing with Lizzo. I read that lawsuit, and it seems like that lawsuit, it's not so much a sexual harassment lawsuit as we would think about a classic sexual harassment lawsuit, but it's a toxic workplace environment lawsuit. And I am concerned not just about this lawsuit in particular, but I'm concerned about this trend that I see emerging. I see it more and more in the media, particularly, of people being accused of having a toxic work environment, and that now becoming a cancelable offense, and also something that is a really huge litigation target. And obviously, there are some cases where there's a truly toxic, truly problematic, really this should be stopped situation. But it is very subjective, and most of us have had jobs or have jobs where we think there is some aspect of it that is unhealthy. To label something a toxic work environment. Again, my issue with a lot of this stuff right now, and it's the same issue that I have with Me Too, is that increasingly there is a real looseness with the language and an indeterminacy about the language, and a way that the language, this indeterminacy and this looseness of language, of meaning, of connotation, is being used so that things that really don't fit the classic definition of that word, or things that really aren't as bad as what that word implies, are being given that label, and that is effective. If you label something, you label it this, and people associate it with this, and they have a profound reaction to this, then that's powerful. And so when I look at the Lizzo lawsuit, it seems like to me that is at work there. There are times when the language is used in a very indeterminate way. And for instance, these allegations in the lawsuit of body shaming, fat shaming, of racial and fat shaming animus, these things, the lawsuit in no way proves or even provides evidence of the fact that there was any fat shaming that occurred, any body shaming, that anyone was targeted due to their weight. I know, yes, there are insinuations that the lawsuit makes, or the lawsuit tries to lump some of the things that it is attesting to in under this umbrella. But it's not accurate. It is not precise. And so I'll give you an example. Like, for example, in the Lizzo lawsuit, there was a particular dancer, one of the accusers is bringing the lawsuit. And the lawsuit discusses how this person, that Lizzo and Lizzo's people had meetings with this person in which they expressed that maybe this person should take some time off, or maybe that this person asked if this person was having psychological issues. There were other times mentioned in the lawsuit when some of the dancers would be called out for certain bad behaviors, unprofessional behaviors. And the lawsuit just makes the declaration, just assumes that this was because of weight issues and racial issues, even though the race thing is never actually brought up in any of the events. It's never actually a part of any of the events mentioned in the lawsuit. So there's just sort of this label of like, well, it seems like it had shades of racial animus, or it was only 3 black girls and there weren't any white girls that were being talked to in this way. But that's it. And also this assumption that when certain members of the dance group were called out for unprofessional behavior, that this automatically meant weight, and this automatically meant weight shaming, when this lawsuit could not come up with a single instance of Lizzo or her staff or anyone actually shaming anyone for their weight, or saying that anyone would be let go because of their weight, or that they were endangered professionally because of their weight, or any of that. And so I see these terms, and then the toxic work environment thing, that is a very problematic term, because toxic work environment, as I said earlier, it implies like horrible working conditions, like, Sally Field, Norma Ray holding up the union sign or whatever. Like, it implies something really, really bad. But then when it comes down to it, if a toxic work environment is that sometimes the boss gets a little carried away talking about her love for Jesus, or that you took part in an audition, a dance audition for Lizzo, and the audition went for hours and hours, and you didn't really want to go to the bathroom, and so you peed yourself so that you could keep at it. Well, there's problems with that, particularly because this person is not claiming that Lizzo, in the latter example, that Lizzo told them they couldn't go to the bathroom or told them that they couldn't take bathroom breaks. This person just says in her head, she just thought it would be bad if she took a bathroom break, and so she just pissed herself. Well, this is the same person, by the way, that says that Lizzo and Lizzo's people had tried to intervene and tried to get her inquire as to whether she needed to take a break for her psychological health or get some psychological help. Well, I wonder why they were asking if she needed psychological help. Maybe because she is pissing herself in auditions when no one told her to. And yeah, you know what? I get it with the Jesus thing. I know that's got to be annoying when you go to work. And to me, that was actually, of everything in the lawsuit, I found some of the complaints about the Christianity stuff, and then some of the complaints about Amsterdam the parties that they went to. I understood to a degree where the claimants were coming from on that. And it doesn't sound like to me it was in those ways it was an appropriate work environment. But on the other hand, if I can't trust parts of an allegation, then it's hard for me to trust any of it. And because there are so many places, and I've said this before about other famous lawsuits, like Me Too lawsuits, if there are a number of places in the lawsuit where I can clearly see that someone is, that the lawyer, whoever wrote it, is being manipulative, is being disingenuous, is misrepresenting things, then I don't know if I can trust their depictions of the aspects of the lawsuit that I do have some sympathy for. And I think that we have to be really careful, and this is where I'm concerned about this larger trend now of bringing litigation against and even trying to cancel in the media people and businesses for toxic work environment. This is where I have a problem, is that we have to be careful that we do not become so litigious or so cancellatory that we're making people afraid to behave in human manners, to within reason, to be themselves. When we go to work, we shouldn't have to be afraid that going to work is like going to visit with your local Gestapo or something, or your local, like in the Soviet Union, the KGB, right? Like, it shouldn't feel like you have to watch everything you say. Like, part of the human experience and of developing relationships with people and of enjoying your work is being able to bring something of your own humanity into that. And also, I would think that if you're on tour with Lizzo, a big rock star, pop star, you should also expect that at times there are going to be some things that happen. Like if you go to Amsterdam and she does reserve this dinner for you in this nude cafe or the red light district or something, like, I would expect if I were on a tour like that, an edgy pop star tour, maybe, I need to chill out a little. But the thing is it wasn't even mandatory. This is another assumption that the lawsuit makes, because the lawsuit claims that everybody just knew that if you didn't go to these non-mandatory social events, then you wouldn't get, you wouldn't be chosen for dance lineups, or you wouldn't be chosen to stay on, or you wouldn't be chosen to tour again. Well, that's an assumption that the lawsuit is making, but the lawsuit provides no evidence to back up that assumption. And so in the absence of that, when I read the lawsuit, what I see is, yes, Lizzo, when they were in Amsterdam, a city, a place that is known for the red light district stuff, that she invited her people to voluntarily participate in these after hours social events. It wasn't required. I understand some of them are saying, well, it was de facto required. Like, we knew, even if it wasn't stated or said, like, we knew. Well, you knew, but you can't prove it. And if this is the worst that you can come up with about a toxic work environment, that sometimes the dance captain got too enthusiastic or even too aggressive, talking about Jesus or sharing her religious beliefs, and then when you went to Amsterdam, you had to go to some edgy clubs where there were naked people dancing around you. If that's the worst that you can come up with, I just don't have a lot of sympathy. And I am just very afraid that this toxic work environment stuff is really the dawn of a new Me Too type dynamic. Because just like we talked about with the Me Too stuff, and how over time the umbrella of what is considered unacceptable behavior, it has been getting larger and larger. And the language is getting squishier and squishier and more indeterminate. And we're having all of these cancellations without a proper airing of grievances. I saw that Lizzo's music, this could be temporary, but I saw an article just today saying that that downloads have completely dropped off a cliff. Downloads and streams and all of that, however they measure that, completely dropped off a cliff. I don't like the idea of someone getting canceled and having their reputation and their life's work ruined by accusations alone, especially financially incentivized accusations. They're suing her, and they're suing her knowing and expecting that she is going to settle. I hope she doesn't. But as I've talked about before in relation to other celebrity cases, the MO for these types of things is that they get settled even in spite of no evidence of guilt. And so these women are financially incentivized, they're financially motivated, and Lizzo might be completely destroyed by this. So I've never even heard Lizzo's song. I don't agree with the fat acceptance movement per se. I mean, and I don't, and look, I would love for there to be a situation actually where we could say, oh, look, this person is clearly being sued for legitimate things, like, oh, a sigh of relief, not another crazy one, right? Or not another hoax or whatever. But I just don't know with this. And there are so many points of concern that I find in this lawsuit. And I'm concerned about this toxic work environment thing, this trend that I'm starting to see. And it started, I think, Ellen DeGeneres was the canary in the coal mine on that. And again, a lot of this at times, like with Ellen, it sounded like just sort of a lot of like just kind of griping, like, oh, we had to work too hard. Well, what do you think it's going to be like when you work for the creme de la creme, a major high-powered star in a major Hollywood production? Like, this is top of the line. And you don't think that you're going to have to bust your ass? Now, of course, I know there are limits to that. But I'm just saying, to be the best and most successful in any industry, or to work at the best in any industry, their standards are going to be very high. They should be. And so you're going to have to work hard. And to start to view that as criminal or cancelable, and we're canceling people without any evidence, just whining and claims, and financially incentivized and media incentivized whining and claims, I don't like it. I don't like it. So my opinion is always subject to change. I'm going to be looking into this more and talking about it more. But yeah, that's where I'm at on this. And so everybody, as always, check out my channel. I talk about all kinds of interesting celebrity controversies. I appreciate your support. My links are below, tips and donations appreciated. And I will see you all later. Bye.